I guess we might as well actually just go over to that constraint SOP solver and just implement that now. So let's fly over here to constraint network, and so instead of doing constraint name hard, I think what might be better here is we'll say cat deformable equals 0. So this will work on the regular style hard constraints. This guy where we were breaking them, because again we want to break them. That's the whole point of this. So the things that remained deformable equals 1 will never be able to break because they'll never get to this thing. Instead, they need their own logic to work. So we'll say manage deformable constraints. And just in case we end up doing something else later, I'm going to put this here and say 1. And of course, the glues won't work on either of these things, or rather, glues will work if they're in the glue state of this deformable relationship. But anyway, so let's set this up now. And this will actually be a lot simpler than you'd think. All we really need to do is say, hey, we know you're deformable or else you wouldn't be in here at all in the first place. Now, are you currently in a glue state, right? If you are, then we'll do something. Now, if you're not, that must mean that you're in the hard state, the one that it's switched over to. What I'd like to do here is I would like to keep track of how many frames you've not been a glue. Because again, it starts as glue, as soon as it breaks, it's turning into a hard constraint. So we'd say, let's just keep a timer. In fact, if you're glue, then I would say that you would start at 0. So we could put that up here. So the timer starts at 0. Once you turn into a hard constraint, we keep a little clock going, right? Now, should the time ever happen that you were in that hard state and and the clock is ticking, oops, I should put a double equals here. Should we find that you are of the hard type, and let's say enough time has passed, something like, if let's say 3 ticks go by, and you could put this in in your control panel or something, but I just want to shove it in here for now. Then you go back to being a glue, like that. But you are now a glue that will never break. We could definitely make it so that it could keep going back and forth between the glue and the hard, but this is usually enough, and that would take more tweaking. So let's just run over this again real quick. So if you are deformable, you're here in the first place, and the whole point of this is you go from being a glue and its timer's at 0. So many frames, it's just going to keep coming through here. It's going to be a glue because nothing's ever happened. Timer set to 0. Fine. At some point, the solver will break those constraints. When let's say it hits the ground, they will be turned into a hard constraint automatically, because here we said the next constraint name is hard. That's something that's recognized by the bullet solver. So now, let's say it is hard and it comes through here. Well, this is going to trigger now instead. Now it's going to start ticking. So now elapsed will be 1. So if it's 1, well, constraint name is hard, that it's true, but elapsed is not greater than 3, so nothing will happen. It'll come through again. It'll still be hard and not glue, so it'll tick up again. So now it'll be 2, still not greater than 3. Ticks again, it's 3. So now it gets to 4 frames later. The constraint name is hard, it is greater than this. But so now wherever it's bent to in 4 frames, it will now freeze in that position, and the strength will now be super tough. So it won't be able to go back to being a hard constraint again. Great. So that should work. And I know it works because I've done it before. But hopefully I typed it in correctly. That's the key. So again, you might You might put that in the control panel in terms of the how many ticks it takes. You could even randomize how many ticks it takes or something like that, but let's just go with this for now. See what we get.